those who will be pulled from the rubble this evening. In Cobble Hill, I'm Kirsten Cole, CBS 2.
All right, thank you very much.
Michael Aluni is joining us now to tell us a little more about the history of the World Trade Center, a most incredible building that is no more.
That's so true, Angela. The Twin Towers had stood over Lower Manhattan for the last 25 years. They had become a symbol of the city's success, all that was possible in America. But they had also become an irresistible target for terrorists, a target for all those who hate everything that America stands for. We have a piece on that we'll be bringing to you in a few minutes. But just an incredible day, Angela. Just the sadness. You talk to people today, and they just can't comprehend. They can't get their arms around this story.
I think one of the things that we were talking about all day long, I heard you say it, and many people, that this is really surreal.
Yes.
You can't imagine. It almost looks like animation, if you will, like this is a movie. You just can't believe that this actually happened here before our very eyes.
And I think the mayor said it. We all either know someone or know someone who knows someone who works in the World Trade Center. And I know I called a friend to make sure her friend was fine, and thank God he was.
Yeah, I took a walk a few minutes ago just to get a break and walked outside. It is completely empty at 57th and 10th. Nobody on the street. And no cars. But we have that package we want to go to you now. This is a look back at the history of the World Trade Center. There is an empty, aching hole in the New York City skyline. The Twin Towers of the World Trade Center are gone, wiped away in the worst act of terror to hit America. The towers, each 110 stories of gleaming glass and steel, had become part of New York's identity, symbols of an engineering marvel, of capitalism, of America. An estimated 50,000 people worked in the towers, and another 90,000 passed through each day as visitors, many coming to visit the observation deck for a bird's-eye view of the city. It was all destroyed in under 2 hours. It happened before, on that terrible day in February 1993, when a suicide bomber tried to blow up the towers by detonating a truck bomb in an underground garage, blasting a crater half the size of a football field beneath the towers. 6 people were killed and more than 1,000 injured. But on that day, the towers kept standing. The 93 bombing changed America. It brought terrorism home, and it shattered the country's sense of security. Soon, parts of the city became fortified as prosecutors brought cases against terrorists accused of plotting other attacks against landmarks here in New York, against U.S. embassies in Africa, and against American citizens around the world. The Twin Towers were first imagined in the early 1960s as part of an urban renewal project. The first building in the $1.2 billion complex opened in 1970. The towers were completed 6 years later. And they were immense in every detail: 43,000 windows, 99 elevators, and each 1,350 feet tall. For a time, they were the tallest buildings in the world, and until this morning, they had been the tallest buildings in New York City. What the 1993 bombing showed was how the towers had been designed to be especially strong, using load-bearing steel walls rather than the steel cage construction typically used in modern skyscrapers. The 16-acre complex was finished in 1988, and it became an international hub for business, home to more than 1,200 companies, many of them involved in international trade. Now, as the smoke drifts across a bright blue, empty sky, a wounded city tries to understand the unthinkable. And in talking to people today out in the street, here in the newsroom, over the phone, it seems that we all know someone who worked in the World Trade Center, and now so many of us are desperate for information on the fate of our friends and our loved ones. And as that information comes out, we will be here to bring it to you. Ernie, Angela?
Okay.
Of course, the problem right now is that there are so many people who are still unaccounted for, and the efforts are continuing there. That we are told, of course, that in order to get inside and to deal with that problem, those fires have to subside, have to be under control. Not happening as of yet. But as you know, and you can tell us more, there's a lot of need out there, especially blood.
Well, the Red Cross was saying today they have an urgent need for type O negative blood, and they need that so much because that's the universal donor blood. But when we spoke to someone from the Red Cross later today, they said that they were okay for now, but the next few days they were going to be in a much greater need for that. So over the next few days, if people can take the time out to donate blood, that would be greatly appreciated.
And actually, I understand New Yorkers have been going out in droves today, so much so that they're having to be turned away because, you know...
Too many. If you have O negative, you should really make a point of trying to donate blood.
Michael, thank you so much.
Okay, we want more right now. Marcia Kramer is standing by at an undisclosed location. She has been following the mayor and getting more information. The mayor held a news conference earlier tonight, talked about how schools would be closed tomorrow and that he urged people, if they could stay home tomorrow, to do that, in fact. Marcia, I'm sure you have a lot more to tell us. Let's go to you right now.
Well, actually, I've been standing out here in this undisclosed location where the mayor has set up a command center. And I have to tell you, it's been pretty grim because what we've seen now seems to be a new development in how they're going to be rescuing workers. For the last half hour, 45 minutes, have been watching a procession of heavy construction trucks being rushed to the scene of the World Trade Center. So now it looks like what they're going to be doing is using these heavy bulldozers and other things to go through the rubble and try to find out if there are any survivors or any bodies left to be pulled out. It's a very grim task, and I can tell you, I can see the World Trade Center from here. I can still see billowing black smoke filling the night sky, and I can still hear the sirens as more and more ambulances and now heavy construction equipment are on their way. When Mayor Giuliani and Governor Pataki held their press conference earlier, they were also joined by the head of the New York office of the FBI. Right now, the FBI is basically chomping at the bit to get to the crime scene because what they want to recover right now are the black boxes that were on those planes that crashed into the World Trade Center. Apparently, there were conversations from the terrorists or some people in the cockpit radioing that the plane had been hijacked. They want to know what was said. They want to hear who said it. They want to hear the voices of the people in the cockpit as they were piloting the plane into the World Trade Center. Actually, I should say planes into the World Trade Center. Again, the FBI is going to be bringing its special teams in to look for the black boxes, and they're going to bring in the NTSB to try to reconstruct any remnants of the plane to see exactly what was going on. We also have some grim news to report. Apparently, at least 50 to 100 police officers and firemen have been reported missing. We know that at least 4 cops have been killed. We also know that the chief police surgeon has been seriously injured with internal injuries. Yes, in fact, schools are going to be closed tomorrow, but principals and teachers are going to be asked to report so they can develop programs to help the kids deal with grieving and deal with this tragedy. So teachers and principals will be reporting. Teachers will not. They're also asking people, if they don't have to come into the city, to treat it as a snow day. Stay out of the city because it's going to be very difficult to travel in the city, especially in Lower Manhattan. They're going to close off all of Lower Manhattan, and 14th Street North is going to be only used for emergency vehicles. Schools, as I said, are closed. The stock exchange is closed. Now, here's something that's really very important. They're asking emergency people, health people, nurses, and doctors to call in if they can offer their services. If you are a health professional, you are asked to call 1-800-628-0193. Again, if you're a health professional and you can volunteer your services, call 1-800-628-0193. And if you're a doctor, call 518-431-7600. Reporting live from someplace in Manhattan, I'm Marcia Kramer, CBS 2.
Marcia, as you know, this is a very moving story right now. We have been reporting various events taking place. For example, all buildings south of Canal Street have been evacuated tonight for precautionary measures. And there are other things happening, and I'm wondering if the mayor or Governor Pataki will be coming on the air a little bit later for some updates.
Well, the mayor and governor say they're going to hold a press conference around 10 o'clock, but the message that they're trying to get out, and this is a very important message, is that New York will be here tomorrow, it will be here the next day, New York will be here forever. New Yorkers are strong, we're not going to take this lying down, and Mayor Giuliani said that he knows that the United States government will find the people responsible and will bring them to justice. But one more caution, he doesn't want New Yorkers to take justice into their own hands and to go after people who live in this city, because he say people who live here are not to blame. Ernie?
Thank you very much, Marcia, for your report tonight. Okay, Angela, we have another interview right now with Senator Chuck Schumer.
That's right. Senator Schumer, thank you for joining us this evening. Your thoughts on what's happened?
Well, I have a whole bunch. First, I understand the anxiety of tens of thousands of New York families right now who cannot find their loved ones. I went through this morning myself. My daughter goes to high school, Stuyvesant High School, which is in the shadow of the World Trade Center, and thank God we found her, and she's safe and sound, but I know the agony that people are going through.
Have you been hearing from your constituency today?
Yes, we've been hearing from people. If I can get it, we have a phone number that people can call if they have someone missing. That phone number, and maybe you can post it, is 1-800-331-0075. From what we've been able to ascertain, many of the lower floors of the World Trade Center were successfully evacuated. We've heard of people on the 60s, 70s, and even low 80s floors who are safe and sound. So there is some hope, but we're saying a lot of prayers. I did also speak to the president. He called me several hours ago in a gracious move, and he asked me to assure all New Yorkers that the federal government would stand behind New York in every way, with rescue, with recovery, with the kind of help we're going to need on into not the next weeks or months, but next years to deal with the devastation. And he also wanted me to assure New Yorkers that he would go after these terrorists and find out who did this and make them pay an awful price and redouble our efforts so that we do more in the future. I think we've been lax in terms of fighting terrorism. We have countries like Iran and Iraq and Syria who do it on a daily basis, and we don't do enough about them, and we need the help of the Europeans to do it as well.
Senator, while you're on that, as you know, there had been reports earlier about a possible U.S. attack on Afghanistan, but a senior U.S. official tonight says that is not a U.S. strike. I'm wondering if you could just tell us a little bit more about that from your vantage point.
Yes, look, we know that bin Laden is somebody who has aimed terrorism and has the blood of many Americans on his hands, and while they haven't made a definitive conclusion, signs point to him as the person who did this. We'll know a lot more shortly. Mm-hmm. But we've let this man, and we've let the Afghanistan Taliban regime keep him there. Yes. And we can't do that anymore. Technology, it's no longer, this was like a 21st century Pearl Harbor.
Right.
It's different in that it's not a country but a group. Right. And they aim at civilians, not at military targets, which are much better protected. But it's the same kind of violation of the United States, our people, our honor, our sanctity.
Senator Schumer, you are in Washington, D.C. right now, correct?
I'm trying to get to New York. I just can't yet. And, I can be on a plane, but I would take the place of a rescue worker. And I want to wait till they get up here.
What's the mood in D.C.? The Pentagon.
Everyone is shaken. The only good that can come out of this, the partisanship which has been so endemic in Washington, seems to be gone. I've had meetings with my colleagues and hugs, and, everyone assures us that, A, we're going to do all we can for New York, and B, we're going to unite behind the president in terms of the actions that have to be taken. And I say that as a Democrat who has not always agreed with President Bush, but like after Pearl Harbor, the whole country has to unite.
Okay, Senator Chuck Schumer, thank you very much for joining us live from Washington tonight with your assessment of what's been going on here all day and, of course, what's ahead for the next couple of days. Thank you, Senator Schumer.
Thank you.
And we're going to join the junior senator from New York, Hillary Rodham Clinton. We understand she's speaking live. Okay, we don't have that yet. When we do, we'll bring it to you. In the meantime, now we're going to take you out to St. Vincent's Hospital in Whitney, Casey. Whitney.
Well, that's right. Out here tonight, as you can see, the governor has been here, the mayor has been here, the police commissioner. They all have said just what you see behind me is the strength of New York. Hundreds of emergency workers, nurses, doctors out here all day since 9 o'clock this morning, waiting on emergency vehicles, pulling up here, taking care of the wounded, the sick, the injured, anyone who is showing up here, taking blood. There have been 350 people that have come here all day donating blood. New Yorkers are very much bonding together here tonight. The numbers we have here, 320 now here at St. Vincent's, 55 in critical condition, and 3 are dead. Now, because this is so close, the closest trauma center to the World Trade Center, we've had 45 emergency workers that have been admitted here. Mostly minor injuries, are telling us, cornea abrasions because of all of that glass and soot in the air there. They've had to come here. Now, Mayor Giuliani ordered some goggles for the rest of the workers there. About an hour ago, there was a huge lull here because we're told that after Tower 7 went down, that a lot of people were in the area, but they couldn't reach anyone because of all that was going on there. And now they said that the smoke has cleared and some of the debris and dust is cleared, that they're down there pulling bodies out, and that we will see a lot more going on here.